Hey, okay, so we're heading into the Plain Indian Emancipation Museum. Oh, this is kind of fascinating. There was a record of the tribal history that was being kept and started at the center and moved outward, one symbol of a time representing the most significant or a significant event that occurred during that year. So this is the way they documented their history. And apparently this particular item represents the history 1800 to 1871. So 71 years of documentation, tribal history. One beautiful example of a painted hide with the buffalo. Dancing ceremony, of course the hunting, and just as a reminder in terms of how long Native Americans have been here, there's a couple of examples here of the petroglyphs that have been recovered that demonstrate their ancient origins. This particular presentation memorializes the Sand Creek Massacre. This particular exhibit does a really great job of providing us with a sequence of events between Native Americans and Europeans, and it's called Encounters. And it starts out by saying, okay, so let's start with trade and the kinds of items we traded, which is about 1800. This was followed by disease, which devastated the Native American population in a good number of tribes. Then came the missionaries who turned Native American spirituality upside down, and a series of treaties which of course would not adhere to, led to warfare. Some examples of the weapons that were used for the Europeans: the Springfield rifle, and to many Native Americans still bow and arrow and tomahawks. This was followed by the loss of land, singled out as the Homestead Act, which gave people the right to claim land as they moved further westward. And then came the desire for this type of coat, as well as for adventure and sport, which resulted in the destruction of the buffalo, followed by placement of many of Native Americans on and moved to reservation, the establishment of boarding schools to where Native American children were sent, and ended up in Wounded Knee. One account reads, near the flag of truce, a mother was shot down with her infant. The child, not knowing that its mother was dead, was still nursing, and that especially was a very sad sight. The women, as they were fleeing with their babies, were killed together, shot right through, and the women who were very heavy with child were also killed. Sad. So that element of the encounters winds up in his next exhibit, which is called Adversity and Renewal. So one key aspect to keep in mind is that from the teepee, Native Americans have basically been contemporized through now living in homes. Next we look at education and heritage. Today's tribal programs share a commitment to self-determination, honoring each community's traditional values and present needs by focusing on cultural identity as well as academic achievement and technical skills. These programs help students live in the modern world both on and off reservations. So the spirituality continues. There is a dance that they call the ghost dance. The pipe bowl and stem retains its value. The ghost dance, powerful religious movement, about the hopes for renewal after 1880. This is an example of a teepee as presented in the museum. The interior. So in times of war, they needed a shelter. They also needed to keep themselves from being discovered by their enemies. So they built this kind of a war lodge, covered it with bark and branch. Here is another example of the mode of transportation. And in this particular case, learned something new. Dogs were included in the moving, and they were used to haul the goods along the trail. Another interesting point is why were they wanderers? Well, because they followed the buffalo, which makes eminent sense. But think about that. Buffaloes moved over a wide range, and the Native Americans followed in their wake for hunting and gathering. We've always seen this scene. What this does, it gives you the ability to enjoy what some of the items that were carried.
The Cheyenne moved to and from the same campsites for many generations.
I like the depiction of the face.
Dogs were reluctant beasts of burden.
Bear claw necklace, an eagle hat, a feathered bonnet. These are called symbols of allegiance. A beautiful shirt. So yes, there was a warrior tradition amongst the Plain Indians, and the warrior became renowned for his acts of bravery. And apparently there was a reward system or some sort of a hierarchical system in terms of the numbers of acts of bravery. They used both firearms as well as bows and arrows and items for hand-to-hand combat. Got a war shirt over here. As you can see, it is pretty heavily beaded. It was just as men had their society, women likewise had theirs in terms of teepee ornamentation. These are example of the type of tools that women used to prepare the buffalo hides. Apparently, there was a heck of a lot of work associated with that. Is now recognized. It may very well have been even more difficult than the hunting aspect of it. Cases, pouches, porcupine quills, beautiful storage bag, ceremonial dress, and moccasins. Here in the Cody Museum, there's this beautiful scene set up associated with the movie.
They wanted his strength. They wanted his spirit to make
Representing
us strong. We honor him in that way.
Plains Indians in the context of both their environment
It was hard
as
work.
well as
Fleshing, stretching,
the way they managed their
reach. It's harder than buffalo.
life. So you come down to the ground floor and you walk through this amazing exhibit, temperature controlled area, which is really kind of a blessing given the temperature that's outside. You can peer inside a teepee, see a little storage tripod see a basket. You can
Buffalo and their blessings.
This is a ceremonial piece used for feasting. An example of a men's shirt used by the Plains Indian tribe. Girls' dresses. Another beautiful baby carrier. An example of their artistry and use of leather in a woman's dress. A set of leggings. Another example of a shell dress in black. Okay, so we saw examples there of before of the artistry. This particular exhibit seems to highlight the fact that when it came to the warriors, their representations, of course, were heavily related towards their warrior skills. That's a shield cover. Cross there. Various representations of that. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, this is a dance shield. That's a ball. Buffalo hide ornamented. A set of moccasins. Rope. Some sort of a container or a carrier made from buffalo hide. This one is somehow white with a heavy concentration of beading. A shirt. Just having experienced what the temperature variations are, and having been here before in the summer, the weather changes quite a bit. So they had to be able to deal with the hot as well as the very cold weather. And look at this magnificent example of a coat for a woman. The Plains Indians did do some trading between probably the same tribe and who knows, those tribes that they got along with. And so, as you can see, beads for the purposes of ornamentation ceremonial and recognition of what they were doing was a heavy part of it. Also, as metal came, this became another aspect of what they traded. Of course, firearms. And it looks like breastplates. Beautiful set of either quiver or neck braces. Leg braces. Leggings. Really love this shot of a buffalo headdress.
Events that occurred to our people, and in the fall of the year,
As you can see,
what we call buffalo runners. When the boys has a buffalo
the
cow on, or the
horns.
boys has a wolf on, the boys buffalo cow will be placed in front of the herd.
On the intermediate tier of the exhibit, you get further examples of the artistic nature of the Plains Indians and obviously their artistic talent in representation of their products is very, very impressive. This is an exhibit of the regalia and the ceremony that they participated in. It's an interesting piece. It's an eagle fan.